Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so basically what we have here, of course, is job ready, getting that job, and it's just a simple introduction page. So we all go to different, we visit these local retail places or places where we often shop with, with whomever, and we see the sign and it says now hiring now or now hiring, and we want to see ourselves, I would love to work, at this place at Macy's or McDonald's or TJ Maxx. We see other people working there and we're like, oh, I want that. So we have, so the steps of getting there, what's next? Once you see that sign and you want to go and work there, but how do you even prepare when you don't, like you said, you don't have the work experience and so on and so forth. So the first thing you do is that you would build yourself a resume. Then you would do the application, whether it's online or whether it's paper. You would create a professional email. In a professional email simply is your first name, your last name at Yahoo or at Gmail or whatever that looks like for you. You would make sure you have a dependable phone number. When they do contact you or call you, someone, this phone is a reachable number that you can be reached at. And then you get the call, they filter you out and you get the call for the interview. So you make sure you set the date and the time that you will be available and you have dependable transportation to get there. And then you make sure that you have proper attire. And then, of course, when it's time for the interview, you want to make sure you have clean copies of your resume, the name of a reference, which could also be a teacher, an instructor, or a professional family member that can speak on your behalf in your character. And then you want to make sure you're at the interview 10 to 15 minutes before the interview time is started. So if you have an interview for 5:30 p.m., and you want to make sure you're there at least between 5:15 and 5:20.
Can you talk a little bit about personal references being family members? Because I thought that you can't use family members as references.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, when you don't have work experience, what you end up having is that you have to say, for instance, can't be like if I have a relative like a cousin, if I have one of my cousins that says, you know what, I have worked with you before on a project. For instance, I do my family reunions, and this is just a personal situation. I do my family reunions. And I'm the coordinator of family reunions. I do all the planning, so on and so forth. And I have another family member that actually helps me coordinate those things. So when my cousins say, can I use you for a reference as an event planner because I want to help someone else? So utilizing me as a personal reference, I would make sure that I only speak on the work that we did together. So, and I would not include anything personal. I wouldn't be like, oh, this is my cousin, we do the family reunion and we make all these fun events. No, this is Jane Doe. Jane Doe helped me coordinate an event for a family event, and in the family event, Jane Doe sent out the mailings for me. Jane Doe ended up sending out all the email correspondence. Jane Doe created the calendar. Jane Doe did all of follow-up calls, making sure everything was in place and confirmed. And then Jane Doe also collected payments for the events of the participants. So you make sure that if you are going to use someone that you also have a personal relationship with, that they know how to speak on your behalf in a professional manner. So I would not suggest that you just get your cousin that you hang out with all the time. If they don't know how, if they are not that person that is already in a professional space, then that would not be suggested.
Great point. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So how do we build your question was, how do we build a resume? So a resume, this is an entry level, no experience resume. And this is an example of what one can look like. So at the first, you have your header. And your header is your name, address, phone number, and email. So here I just have my first name and my last name. Middle names or middle initials are not necessary. And then you want to have your full address, including your zip code, working phone number, and then here would be my professional email. Now, it can't say my girl Sally at Yahoo. That's not a professional email. Just
Mm.
keep it simple. Keep it skandrikalee at yahoo.com. That's it. And you utilize that email for all of your, when you're filling out applications online, things of that nature. And that's where you get those correspondence from. And that way you don't have to filter through your other personal emails trying to find, what's being, when they're reaching out to you. So the next part of your resume would be an objective. Objective is simply a goal and a brief description of yourself. Again, your goal is to obtain a position that will allow growth and opportunity. Then how do you describe yourself? I am a quick learner, I'm dependable, and pay attention to detail. Meaning that in school, in school, can I get my work lesson? Am I dependable? Do I turn my homework in on time? Or is my homework always late? Or am I always making an excuse for why my homework is not done? So that kind of like defines if you're dependable. Do you pay attention to detail? Are you paying attention to how you turn your homework in? Are you paying attention to, are you just turning in anything just to meet the deadline? Or are you turning in good, accurate work? So that's how you create your objective. Now your education, high school, college information goes here. So Culver City High School, Culver City, California, high school diploma. And if you're looking to obtain your high school diploma in June, or then you would put June 2020. This is your education piece. This piece grows the more education that you receive. Then you go to skills and abilities. What you know how to do. So again, this is where those transferable skills that I was speaking about, this is where you place that information. Microsoft Office, Word, you know how to do. Outlook is a email portion in a calendar book that's located within the Microsoft Office. Excel, do you know how to do it in Excel spreadsheet? Have you had to do any of your calculus or, your math work in an Excel spreadsheet? PowerPoint, such as what we're doing now. Have you had to do any type of presentation? If you haven't and you know it, this is where that goes. This takes you no matter, even if you self-learn this, the fact that you learned it and you know it, you can put it here on your resume. Internet Explorer. That's where all your social media experience. You don't have to put Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and chat, and Snapchat. You don't have to list them individually. You just have to put Internet Explorer, meaning that you know how to work the internet. Tutor, if you tutored anyone or help in the classroom in a leadership role, or the teacher's assistant, then you can put tutor here. That's something that's a transferable skill that you know how, that's showing them that you know how to help others. And then if you have high honors, or you will put high honors, put your GPA, and if you're on a 4.0 scale, then a 3.95 or a 3.75 or 3.80 on a 4.0 scale. So you put those things on here, and that's where you incorporate all of your transferable skills. Now your work experience, anything where you have performed work. This can also include any volunteering work. So even if you went to summer camp when you were 10 years old, if you went to a summer camp, what did you do? You was on a team, so you know how to work on a team. You knew how to solve problems because you know how to do, sometimes you guys will have courses that you, workout courses, and you'll be a cheerleader, you're a team player. So even if you work at a festival, they had a local festival that came to town and you worked at that festival. Yes, so here, Jump Fest Festival, you was a festival attendant. You put the dates. So if you was just there for 1 month or 2 weeks, whatever that looks like, you just put those dates there. You description of what you did: take ride tickets, assist children on rides, and responsible for children's safety while riding. It's just that simple. It doesn't have to, you don't have enough experience for this to be anything long and drawn out. This is just a formal written document to state who you are, and it's also a reminder to yourself when it's time for you to interview. Hey, because you're not going to remember, your nerves are going to kick in and you're not going to remember everything. So this is just a formal documentation to say, this is where I am, this is what I want, this is, what I know how to do. So it's just as simple as that. And then the next piece is, what does it look like? Here's it all pulled together. Your your contact information here, your objective written out, your education, your computer skills, which is your skills and abilities, and your experience. This is all it is. This is a formal document of your resume. Any questions?
Ladies, you have questions? If you have questions, I just want to mention, put it in. You can also put it in the chat.
Okay, yes, that is fine.
Thank you.
So before the interview, you got the interview. Oh my God, you get, of course, your nerves and you're excited. So again, here's your checklist. Your resume that you just created. You want 3 clean copies and put them in a folder. You don't want them have them in your hand. Just put them in like your school folder, just, a 20-cent folder with pockets. You get your interview clothes ready, what you're gonna wear to your interview. You Google the company, even if it's McDonald's, you wanna know something about the McDonald's or the TJ Maxx or the Macy's or the Dillard's or whatever place you're going, or whatever company you're going to. You wanna know something a little bit about them and why you actually wanna work for them. Make sure you have a dependable ride. You know exactly where the interview is and you know who you're interviewing with. So when you get that phone call or you get that email, you want to jot down who sent you that email with the name and a phone number, or the phone call that you get, you want to know exactly who you spoke to and you want to take their name and get their phone number. And then, of course, you want to arrive 10 to 15 minutes early to that interview. And of course, practice, 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 and practice some more. Find someone in your house, find a friend and say, hey, I need to practice, just practice and go through a mock interview, thing with them and just ask some questions. And knowing what those questions are, Google is so great. So first part we'll look at is, how do I dress for an interview? Of course, your wardrobe probably, is not as professional as it was because you haven't been in the workforce. So, however, no bright colors, tops or bottoms. You keep it basic. Keep it with your basic browns, your basic blacks, your basic navies, and your grays for your bottoms. No shorts or jeans, but if you must wear jeans due to limited wardrobe, make sure you wear a pair of dark blue or black jeans, long jeans. So you can wear them, but just want to make sure that they're clean and make sure that they're dark. No athletic shoes. You want to make sure you have casual shoes unless you're working. Say if you're going to Foot Locker, then you may not wear like the latest pair of Jordans. You might want to wear the ones that, it's kind of, I guess, kind of not flashy, I guess is a good word to say it. No, comb your hair. Make sure your hygiene and grooming is together. No graphic t-shirts or bottoms, no writing on your clothing, making sure there's no holes in them and things of that nature. No open toe shoes or sandals. It could be hot, but for the ladies, they have the flat slip-ons, and then for the guys, then you can definitely put on a pair of shoes. No open toe flip-flops and sandals, things of that nature. Ladies, for your fingernails, just make sure, you want to have a modest pair. They can be long, but nothing with the whole bright colors. When you're going on an interview, you don't want anything you don't want to wear anything that's going to cause more attention than your qualifications to do the job. So you don't want the subject to change in the middle of your interview on how nice your nails look or how beautiful your hair is or your hair color is. You want to keep the conversation on the job and how you qualify for the job. No big jewelry, not a lot of perfume or cologne. And I say that is because your perfume and cologne may be good to you, but the person that you're interviewing with, you don't know if they have any allergies. So you don't want to go in there overpowering the aroma of the room with what you're wearing. So again, your tops, no sleeveless. You want to at least have cap, short, or long sleeve. You want to have slacks, dresses, or skirts even. No mini skirts. No skirt dresses that come, if the measurements for skirts and dresses, if you take your arm and you just stand straight and put your arm straight down the side of your leg, your dress or skirt should meet the end of the longest finger, which is probably your middle finger. It should be that length or longer. If it's shorter than that length, don't wear it. Closed toe shoes, like we stated, and again, well-groomed hair, nails, and hygiene. And there's a couple photos here of do's and don't dress codes, a couple business professional looks that are also, pictures that are here as well. So that we cover. Now, how about the actual interview? So when you're going for an interview, you don't want to be long and drawn out because the attention span is probably 20 to 30 seconds long of the person that you're speaking to. So you don't want to get into any, want to keep it concise as possible. So what we do is usually the 30-second commercial or the elevator ride. So when you go into a store and there's an elevator, when you go from the bottom floor to like the second or the third floor, that's the amount of time that you have to present yourself and to speak about yourself. And we call that the 30-second commercial or the elevator ride. And in that commercial, you want to come up with your name, skills and abilities, your goals and objectives. So here I have the picture of you getting on the elevator. You're in the elevator. You can see you're on the second floor. The third floor, you're fully engaged in conversation. And then by the fourth floor, you're ending it with a handshake. And of course, the doors are going to open. That's how fast it actually goes. So here I have my commercial. I'm going for, say, a lifeguard position, which is what example I have. Hi, my name is Skandrika Lee. I'm CPR certified and an avid swimmer. I always find myself standing guard when I attend beaches and water parks. I probably can't see. Let me see. Okay, here we go. I once saved my sister from going under a giant wave because she could not swim. I am very interested in becoming a lifeguard. Thank you for your time, Mr. Benson. So here you have, I captured my qualifications for the job, things that I just find myself doing naturally when I'm, at the local beaches at the water park, including a personal experience, which is me saving my sister, from a giant wave. That's the catchphrase. And then, of course, letting them know I'm interested in being a lifeguard. Like, I want this. And then, of course, always thanking and shaking their hand. This is a 30-second commercial, and this is what it looks like. So what I want you to do is I want you to take the time and write out your 30-second commercial. So you guys think about that, and we're going to give you the space to give us your 30-second commercial as we continue on with this presentation. Does that sound good? So that's the engaging piece of it. So again, practice, practice, practice. Here are some good interview questions that you'll get asked. Tell me about yourself. So when they say tell me about yourself, you're just repeating that commercial that you just created, and you know that because no one can tell your story better than you can. You want to have enthusiasm in your voice as you're speaking it. The next question will be, what are your strengths? What are you good at? So you know what you're good at, and you want to say, hey, I'm good at leading, a project, or I'm a good team player. I'm dependable. I pay attention to detail. So those are, and then what areas of improvement? We all have to improve in some area. So always think of something, oh, I can do better in this. We just want to make sure, I can do better on my time management skills, meaning that, I'm not all over the place and that I'm completing tasks when I'm meeting deadlines. Why do you want to work here? This is where it comes into play, where you have Googled the company, a little. I want to work here because I see that the employees are always so happy, such a friendly place to work, and I want to be a part of that. And then they'll ask, why should we hire you? Because the last 3 people that we interviewed said the same exact thing that you just told me. So what makes you stand out from them? You don't know what the other 3 people stated. So how do you know what to say that's different from what they said? And you don't even know what they said. So what you have to do is you have to go back and rely on your commercial, because it's your story. Your story is not like their story, but it's how you present your story that makes you stand out from the others that were previously there and you have no idea what they said. So where do you see yourself in 5 years? They want to make sure you have goals set for yourself. I see myself here, growing with the company. I wouldn't mind, being a lead cashier, or I wouldn't mind being a supervisor or manager here. Or I see myself in college. I see myself in school, but still working part-time while I'm in school and doing my studies. And then they'll probably ask you, give an example of a problem you had and how you've handled it. You want to give them a specific example of what happened and what part you played in getting that problem solved. That is showing that you have problem solving skills. And these are questions that are borderline illegal and no questions. How old are you? I am the legal age to be working. I'm not sure what it is in California, but you can work at 16. Some places it's 18 or 21, but most places it's 18. I can provide, so the way you would answer that is, I can provide proof that I'm 18 years and over, or I can provide proof that I am eligible to work. You do not disclose how old you are. And, like for me, it would be like, hey, how old are you? 46. They'd be like, well, we don't want someone working here that's old. Well, now you're discriminating. So no discrimination is allowed. If I choose to apply, then it is my right to be not discriminated against. What's your nationality? Well, we're all mixed with a little something, combination of something, German, African American, Hispanic, Irish. We don't want to get into that conversation. You can't ask me what my nationality is. What do you do outside of work? That's personal. You don't want to get into your personal business into a professional atmosphere. You want to keep those two separate. What is your religion? Nope, unless religion is a religion-based atmosphere where you're going to, then that's not something that you should be answering. Do you have any health issues? I have nothing that would stop me from performing the duties that are required for this position. Those are how you answer those questions. And then if you're asked these kind of questions, then you have to ask yourself, do I really want to work here? If these are the kind of questions that they're asking me, do I want to be a part of this? So as much as you want the job, you also have a choice of whether or not you really do want to work there. Have you ever been arrested? No, that's not your business. I don't have to disclose that. If it's on the application, have you ever been convicted of a misdemeanor, of a felony? You have to disclose it on the application. But we all know I can get arrested for something, but I don't get convicted of it. So me getting arrested is not important. Whether I get convicted or not is. So we have to be careful with those tricky questions. Again, we want to practice, practice, practice. So as you're going into these interviews and you're all nervous and you think you've prepared, you've mocked interview, now you want the naturalness to just flow through. You want to calm down. Once you are prepared, then you should be at ease at going into this. But don't take the easiness for a way of taking away from keeping it on your qualifications to do the job. So your do's, of course, prepare for the questions. Ask questions. Make sure that you ask a question or two. What's the follow-up? When should I expect to hear from you? Verify again, location, time, and date. Don't look hesitant. Be confident. Be a listener. Listen to the question that's being asked of you and make sure you answer it. Be honest. Be honest about, your answer. Be honest in your answer. Be prepared. Trust me, when we interview people, we can tell if they're well prepared or not. And when that interview is over, that will definitely be a topic that will come, that will be something, a note, a remark that will come up and like, they don't look like they was too prepared, or they don't look like, they didn't sound too honest, too truthful. When you hesitate, then that sounds like you're not being completely honest. Being on time. If you're late for the interview, guess what? You're going to be late for work. They don't want that. Make sure, again, you are professional and be yourself. You are the greatest version of you that you can be. So be yourself. And then, of course, be hired. Get the job because you have done everything that you needed to do to prepare to get this job. And again, no worries. You got this as long as you prepare properly. Proper preparation prevents poor performances. So, again, if you guys, I've covered a lot. I hope I wasn't talking too fast. But if you have any questions, if you want me to give you copies of the slides, I will definitely make sure that those copies get to you. And, if you need something to have, I'll stop sharing right now. So that was the quick presentation that I had. I hope it wasn't too long and drawn out, but definitely I'll make sure that Ms. Madrid get copies of the PowerPoint slides so you can have something to look back on.
Yes.
And usually when I'm doing these in person, I usually have a folder ready for each person that's in the training so they can have something to reference back on. So I'll definitely make sure that Ms. Madrid has proper copies to hand out if
right,
necessary.
and we're going to be posting this recording, so I'll definitely, Lauren and Melissa, I'll get that out to you. You can just email me, Skandrika. But I wanted to ask you about thank you cards, because I know when I'm as a career counselor, I always kind of say, please write a thank you card, because it kind of makes your name stand out in their heads if they're thinking who really wants the job, and then deliver a thank you. Is that still being done?
That is still being done, of course, with everything being online. And email is the main communication source nowadays. Then sending a quick thank you note to the person that you interview. So when you're in an interview, sometimes the person that's calling you is not the person you're going to interview with. So you want to make sure that you get the names of the people that you're in the interview with. So if Miss Madrid call you for the interview to set up, she may be the assistant that's setting up the appointment or setting up the interviews. But when you get to the company, you might be interviewing with Miss Lee. So you want to know the name and the contact information for Miss Lee, because that's the person that you actually interviewed with. And if it's an email then that you're sending out, you have Miss Madrid's information because she was the one that contacted you. So you made sure you wrote that information down. So you want to have Miss Madrid on the email and Miss Lee on the same email and send out a quick thank you for your time. And I will also include all the slides, all the papers, copies that I will put inside the folder. I will make sure that you have those. So I'll give you an example of a thank you letter. That, I can definitely include that in there.
Great. Okay. Ladies, do you have any other questions for Sandrika? And if not, I will, again, this will be posted to our website, College.
Okay.
And I thank you so much. That was really, really helpful.
Okay. And just for the sake of time, if we want to set up mock interviewing, because I usually, like I said, when I'm doing it in person, I usually do mock interviewing so that you have everything, but when you actually do it and your nerves kick in, you look different and you sound different. So if you wanted to practice at any given time, mock interviewing, we can definitely set up a session for that. So, that is also available. And I do that as well.
Can I share your email with the participants?
Yes. So yes, you have all my contact information.
Okay.
As long as as long as everything lines up and coordinated correctly, then I can definitely, help anybody out. I can help anybody out that wants help writing their email. Writing their resumes. I'm here for whatever assistance that's needed to make sure that you properly present yourself.
Thank you. And I do mock interviews as well. So if
Great.
Resumes and all that stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both good resources for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
because in a classroom setting, I get the opportunity to record the mock interviewing session just for purposes of classroom, learning. And then we show the mock interviews on the screen. And then when people see themselves, they be like, oh, I didn't realize that I was chewing gum. I didn't realize I even, was not looking at the person. I didn't realize that I didn't shake the person's hand upon part of the interview, or just those little things that that the interviewers notice. And as you grow more and more into your career, it's not always a one-on-one interview. I have sat in panels, panel interviews, group interviews where you're in there with other candidates that's going for the same job, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, we're not friends anymore because they only have one position and I want that position. So there's so many aspects to interviewing for that, and the higher up you get in your career level, the tougher it gets. So this is just the beginning.
And even some retail, I know that some retail places have started doing group interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the middle in a circle of 10 other people, and they'll ask you some silly question like, what's your favorite sandwich?
Right.
You think it's not related at all, but they just want to get to a sense of know you and what you're about and see your enthusiasm to different answers, the way you answer the questions. So you just never know.
That's all behavioral. That's all behavioral type of interviews, and and it's just to put you in a group to see who's going to sink or swim.
Yep.
So yes, that is definitely group interviews. Panel, I don't know what's worse, group interviews or panel interviews where there's 6 people tag teaming on one person.
Those are intimidating. I've had those.
Yeah, those are
8 or 9 people interviewing me, and you're at the hot.
Yes. So it no matter, like I said, no matter your level you are at, it just gets tougher and tougher sometimes, and the nerves never go away. So you just have to prepare, and you just have to stay abreast of the trends of what's happening, practice, get your friends together when you're having your gathering. Hey guys, let's mock interview. Let's ask each other some questions and see how we're answering. And that's how you practice, and that's how you get to that point. And the interviewers know whether or not you have practiced, or you want to get your answers to a simple, because you just want to get in there and get out. I just want this to be over with.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yes. But yes, I am definitely available for whatever assistance beyond this short presentation you need. So yes.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me. It's I love the fact that we're all over and we can still interact with each other. So this is a new our phase actually, because now we are doing virtual interviews. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's a thing now. It's not going to go away.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. All
All
right.
right. Thank you guys. Hope to
Okay.
be in contact soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.